Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 5, Text 10, Translation and Commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. I'll repeat that. 10, Canto 10, Chapter 5, Text 10. 10, 5, 10. If you can't see the verse, please, you can share with someone who has it. Nava Kunkuma Kinjalka Mukha Pankaja Bhutayaha Balibhihi Tvaritam Jagmuhu Prithu Shromyaha Chalat Kuchaha Navakunkuma Kinjalka Mukha Pankaja Bhutayaha Balibhis Tvaritang Jagmu Prithu Shronyas Chalat Kuchaha Navakunkuma Kinjalka Mukha Pankaja Bhutaya Balibhis Tvaritam Jagmu Prithu Shronyas Chalat Kuchaha Kisha?
Navakunkuma Kinjalka Mukha Pankaja Bhutayaha Balibhis Tvaritam Jagmu Prithu Shronyas Chalat Kuchaha Navakunkuma Kinjalka Mukha Pankaja Bhutayaha Balibhis Tvaritam Jagmu Prithu Shronyas Chalat Kuchaha
Navakunkuma Kinjalka Mukha Pankaja Bhutayaha Balibhis Tvaritam Jagmuhu Prithu Shronyas Chalat Kuchaha Navakunkuma Kinjalka Mukha Pankaja Bhutayaha Balibhis Tvaritam Jagmuhu Prithu Shronyas Chalat Kuchaha Navakunkuma Kinjalka Mukha Pankaja Bhutayaha Balibhis Tvaritam Jagmuhu Prithu Shronyas Chalat Kuchaha Navakunkuma Kinjalka Mukha Pankaja Bhutayaha Balibhis Tvaritam Jagmuhu Prithu Shronyas Chalat Kuchaha.
Please come inside. Nava Kumkuma Kinjalka with saffron and newly grown kumkuma flower. She says flower, probably should be flowers. Want to make a note of that, Kishore? Do you send things that you find to Dravida? In the Veda base, you have to check the latest. It might be updated. Flowers would be more appropriate, isn't it?
No. It's in Samasa, you can tell.
Well, if you see the whole context, which is women, not woman, then it should be flowers. So make a note and send it to Dravida. But check the latest Veda base first. It might have been changed. Mukha Pankaja Bhutayaha, exhibiting an extraordinary beauty in their lotus-like faces. Balibhihi, with presentations in their hands. Tvaritam, very quickly. Jagmuhu, went to the house of Mother Yashoda. Prithu Shomyaha, bearing full hips. Fulfilling womanly beauty. Chalat Kuchaha, their developed breasts were moving. Why are you standing? There's no space? Make some space. Please. Oh yeah, then if someone opens the door, they're going to smash into you, right? Smash into your Shariram. There we go. Immediately. I think move in a bit more. We need some more space. Let everyone be comfortable. Okay, please move in, move up. Does this fellow need translation? Can I ask him? Ask him Tamil. You know him, he's Telugu? I know, but this man who just came in, you know him, okay. You moved up, but at the back you have to keep on moving in. You also move in further. Yeah. Now there's the Telugu translation group. He's blocking everything. You have to move up. Just leave enough space for the ladies to sit. Plus the possibility of others come. Now what to do? Then we have to move around here and you'll have to move. Otherwise getting too... we have to leave a little space for latecomers. Yeah, keep on moving. And then the maybe the ladies group should go over here on this side. It's having a total logistic repositioning here. No, but they the Hindi group's going inside that room. Sound? You can't hear it there? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. I have to speak a little loudly, huh? Or maybe just increase the volume, or will I get feedback? Okay. All right, okay. The context of this verse, the translation of which I shall now read, is that Krishna has just been born. And it's being described how the women of Vrindavan are going to the house of Mother Yashoda to see the newborn child. So the translation of the verse is as follows. Can you hear? Their lotus-like faces extraordinarily beautiful, being decorated with saffron and newly grown kumkuma. The wives of the cowherd men hurried to the house of Mother Yashoda with presentations in their hands. Because of natural beauty, the wives had full hips and full breasts, which moved as they hurried along. You better check this, Kishore, this Nava Kunkuma Kinjalka. Because kumkum we generally think of as the powder. It may have been that flour is F-L-O-U-R, to mean powder. So please check it and see. Okay. Purport. The cowherd men and women in the villages lived a very natural life, and the women developed a natural feminine beauty with full hips and breasts. Because women in modern civilization do not live naturally, their hips and breasts do not develop this natural fullness. Because of artificial living, women have lost their natural beauty, although they claim to be independent and advanced in material civilization. This description of the village women gives a clear example of the contrast between natural life and the artificial life of a condemned society, such as that of the Western countries, where topless, bottomless beauty may be easily purchased in clubs and shops and for public advertisements. The word Bali Bihi indicates that the women were carrying gold coins, jeweled necklaces, nice cloths, newly grown grass, sandalwood pulp, flower garlands, and similar offerings on plates made of gold. Such offerings are called Bali. The words Tvaritam Jagmuhu indicate how happy the village women were to understand that Mother Yashoda had given birth to a wonderful child known as Krishna. Tvaritam Jagmuhu means quickly going. Enlivened. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurin Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Shreshtham Manamapi Shachiputra Matra Swarupam Rupam Tasya Grajamurupurim Maturim Goshtavatim Radha Kundam Girivaramaho Radhika Madhava Sham Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Gurum Tamnatos Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Ataf Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagarna Raghunathan Vitavitam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagarna Lalita Shivishakhan Vitamscha Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I chose to speak on this verse today, as today we are scheduled to have meeting concerning the ongoing development of our Varnashram and farm, simple living, high thinking projects. And in this verse, Srila Prabhupada briefly contrasts the natural way of life of the people of Vrindavan, and by extension all people who lived a natural way of life for many generations before modernity set in. So Srila Prabhupada is comparing that with what he twice in this purport refers to as artificial living. Once in one place in this purport he speaks of artificial living, and in another the artificial life of a condemned society. Here's another quotation from Srila Prabhupada regarding specifically the Vraja Leela, the pastimes of Krishna and his devotees in Vrindavan. So Vraja Leela compared with artificial life. The word Srila Prabhupada uses, artificial life. So I'm reading from a transcript of Srila Prabhupada's lecture on the Nectar of Devotion that he gave on January the 6th, 1973 in Bombay. Srila Prabhupada said, Krishna is displaying how he's happy with his cowherd boys, with the gopis, with his father, with his mother. And those who are dependent on Krishna, they are so confident. Just like the cowherd's boys. Krishna goes every day to the forest and there is some demon comes, and simply the cowherd boys say or think, no, there is Krishna. We don't care for this demon. You see? And the demon is killed and they come home and they narrate this story to their mother. Oh my dear mother, Krishna did this wonderful thing. The mother is also very appreciative. Oh, our Krishna is so nice. He can do wonderful. He must be some demigod, like that, gossiping. Srila Prabhupada used the word gossiping. Women gossip. It's a tendency of women noted all over the world, but you see in Vraja they gossip about Krishna. That's the difference. So continuing from reading this transcript, so Srila Prabhupada said, so actually this is life. This Vrindavan life is actual life. Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavita Bhihi. What is this life? Working so hard day and night and discovering so many things. And as soon as the water supply is stopped, everything stops. The electricity will stop, the electric train will stop, the lift will stop, the light will stop, and everything, there will be havoc. So this artificial life is not actual life. And that's my personal experience or estimation, that people who live very simple, down-to-earth, natural lives, what is the difference in their outlook and their character? To people who are very highly sophisticated, living an artificial life in the city. Just if we see this part of the artificial life that I subscribe to is on the internet, and we see photos of young women who are supposed to be paragons of fashion or role models in the Western world, and they actually look like vampires or witches, and they do makeup. Is it? Do you know? They dress themselves in a way which makes them look like something out of a horror movie, and that's supposed to be beautiful or In the Western world, it's very much promoted the LBGTQ, lesbian, LGB, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and that's short for the other 80 or so genders that they've discovered. Just let people go live naturally. No electricity, work hard, live with the cows and the animals. There'll be no question of any of this. It's all artificial life. Artificial life drives people crazy. Experiments done on mice, extrapolated to the psychology of human beings. You crowd mice up and they become super agitated and start to become violent toward each other. It's a microcosmic sample of modern city life in a very crude, simplified way. We can extrapolate from the behavior of mice who are artificially forced to live together in very limited space conditions. So that there can be extrapolated that humans, they also go crazy. They have psychology to try to make you normal. Because it's good business for psychologists in the modern world to try to make people normal. But then what does normal mean? What's their idea of normal? Just living this life with no knowledge of who we are, what is the purpose of life, what happens after death. Normal means you don't even think of these questions. What happens after? Just be here now, enjoy yourself. The purpose of life is to enjoy yourself. Very foolish civilization, or Srila Prabhupada mentions here. Condemned civilization. So Srila Prabhupada used this word, artificial life, because artificial means unnecessary necessities. What does that mean? How can something which is unnecessary be a necessity? It doesn't make sense. It's called oxymoronic. That's the fancy word, if you want to use that. Well, in modern life, a mobile phone is considered a necessity. It's not a necessity for living. People live for, believe it or not, people born in the 21st century may not believe this, but for thousands of years human beings lived without mobile phones. They can't imagine. There was no electric power harnessed for making lights and microphones and air conditioners and air coolers and mobile phones work and all this kind of thing. There's no such thing. And people can't imagine. Even here in India, young Indians growing up, they can't imagine how their parents, most of them, lived without electricity. You can't imagine. How can you live without that? These are artificial necessities or unnecessary necessities. It is possible to live without these things. And although these things are advertised as being symptomatic of advancement of civilization, it depends on what we define as advancement. Advancement of civilization is defined as having more gadgets and devices and machines. But these things don't make people happy. They make the character of people is declining. They have no idea of what is the purpose of life, or that there is even any purpose of life. So in this artificial life, deliberately selfishness is inculcated in people. It's required for the consumer society to want more and more and more, with the unspoken but understood understanding that to gratify the senses to the end of life is the purpose of human civilization. We are meant for enjoying the senses, because what else is there? Kimanyat kama. What else is there but lust? What else is there but desire? So selfishness manifests as lust, and from calm comes krodh, from lust comes frustration and anger. It's all analyzed in Bhagavad Gita. That dhyate vishayam pungsang sangasteshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kama kama krodha abhijayate. And then krodhat bhavati sammoha. And then when in anger, one becomes bewildered. And the whole cycle goes on. Violence is glorified, or it's or people just feel so angry they want to inflict violence on others unnecessarily. Sometimes violence is required, but unnecessary violence. People very imbalanced psychologically. Therefore, they have so many psychological, psychiatric diseases, and they keep on identifying more and more and more. And phobias, there's a phobia about practically everything. They have fancy Latin derived from Greek or Latin names for phobias, for practically phobia about spiders. Phobia for heights is very common. Phobia of open spaces, phobia for closed spaces. That's called claustrophobia. That's a well-known one. Phobia of other people, and on and on and on. Did you learn that when you were studying? A little bit. That you'd have to be a specialist to get into all that kind of thing. I got a phobia about psychology. Unnecessary. Most of it's unnecessary. The people who live with cows, and they see the sunrise every day, which you don't in cities. You don't see the sunrise. You may, especially if you're living in downtown Manhattan, for instance, or practically any American city. They have these huge high-rise buildings, and downtown Manhattan. It's like a big canyon, isn't it? So maybe at midday you might be able to see the sun through the smog, and that's it. Otherwise, you never see the sun, hardly. And milk comes out of a plastic container from a shop, right? They have no idea where does everything come from, how we're living on the lap of nature. People who live on the soil with other people who are down to earth, there's that saying, down to earth. They're down to earth. They're not, like I say, they're not going to be lesbians, gay, bisexual, transgender, what is this crazy thing? You cut your genitals up and put some other, I don't know what they do. They try to inject you with hormones and try to change you from a man to a woman or a woman to man. Quite possibly in America, in some states, maybe in the whole of the Union, and if you say this you could be arrested, is it? For saying this whole idea is just madness. You could be arrested for saying it. That's another sign of madness. Maybe next time I arrive at JFK Airport or wherever, I'll get arrested on the spot. Interpol will be after me, a well-known criminal. be arrested by a female policeman, police person, or whatever. A female who was formerly a male. It's crazy. But this kind of thing just, there was no question. It just didn't exist previously. We didn't have electricity. We didn't have air conditioning. We didn't have internet, and people were more happy. Amazing. How can? But the latest whatever it is, phone, pod, pad is coming up. I got to get that to be. I can't be happy without it. It's very sad how people they invest all their ideas of happiness in just some piece of junk that some poor people in China working in a sweatshop had to produce. And it's just titillation for the mind. That's all. And they have no idea. They have no idea of even family happiness, the most basic thing in human society. We're preaching go above that. But they don't have any idea of what even that is. Maybe if things go on like this, the word family will become, what's the word? Archaic. You can look it up look it up when you come across the word family. What does that mean? Look it up in the dictionary and say archaic. When people were living in the past, and foolish people, they used to have families. And what do they do that for? You don't need a family. You get money from the government and food. Food doesn't come from a mother. You just go to a store and buy it, or have Amazon fly it in by a drone. What's this? Very funny. People are very funny in the past. They had father. What do you need a father for? You just give an injection to the woman, and I never had a father. What is all this? Very strange. Oh, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Well, Krishna consciousness that makes life bright. It's a great relief to know that we don't need all these things. Physically, mentally, emotionally, intellectually, at no level do we need these things. Actually, to some extent we do, because we're trying to present Krishna consciousness to the world. So just like the wood from a tree is required to make a handle for an axe to cut down more trees, so in the same way we require to interact with the condemned civilization in order just to try to inform people that you don't need to live like this. There's a much higher purpose of life. Our purpose of life is not simply to live simply, but the simple living and the high thinking. That's the point. So our farm communities are supposed to demonstrate this. It's a shock for people that you can, even today, the people have chosen to live without electricity, running water, mobile phones or any kind of phones, and live very simply and chant Hare Krishna. It's a great shock for them. And then what's the reason for that? Because we have a higher aim of life. So when people they become fed up with the daily grind, that's a common saying in America, the daily grind. Grind, you have the grinder. It used to be by hand for making mincemeat. Nowadays it's all electric, but you grind something. It means you just cut it up with pressure. You cut it into little pieces. Usko kya bolte Hindi mein? Pichna? That's something a little different. It's like crushing.
Ponding is
Hmm?
ponding is different. This grinding.
Hmm?
That is ponding.
Pounding, yeah. But anyway, it's the same idea. That you just bam, bam, bam. The daily grind. Life is from the moment you get up, and first thing you have to do is drink a cup of coffee to come to life, just to get you into sufficiently high level of energy so you can go out and survive in that high power, high energy, low consciousness society, and then you go to work with a headache. You don't want to do it, but you have to do it because you have to get some money so you can go back to your apartment and drink some more coffee. Oh. They're being ground. You hear these pneumatic drills. It's like that. Is the whole life is like having a pneumatic drill in your head. So people who are somewhat intelligent and philosophically inclined, that's how Prabhupada begins the translation of that. Tasyaiva heto prayateta kovidona labhyate yam brahmatam rupriyadha talabhyate dukkha vadanyata sukham kalena savatra gabhira aranghasa. Srila Prabhupada begins the translation of that verse. Persons who are intelligent and philosophically inclined, and then I don't remember exactly how the rest of it, but they should not endeavor for seeing that happiness in this world is all limited, and that we get. It's very similar to that verse at the beginning of Prahlad's instructions to his school friends, that sukham indriyakam daitya deha yogena dehinam sarvatya labhyate daivat yatha dukkama yatnata. That pleasure comes without trying for it, just as unhappiness comes without trying for it. Therefore, persons who are intelligent and philosophically inclined should endeavor for that kind of happiness which is beyond this trying to be materially happy in this world. So persons who are intelligent, philosophically inclined, fortunate, take to Krishna consciousness to escape from the effects of the daily grind. But unfortunately, what happens is we take to Krishna consciousness and we're told to, you stay in the daily grind and you chant Hare Krishna. This is your service. This is your devotional service. Your career is your devotional service. Your studies are your devotional service. And somehow or other, mixing with karmis all day and trying to get ahead in your career is your devotional service. We're told that you be somewhat, you say your career is your devotional service, then you have to be ambitious like that. So you chant Hare Krishna and you be a partial materialist. Actually, you're fully spiritual, but you have blah blah blah, some kind of word jugglery by which you remain materialistic and at the same time think that you're fully spiritual and fully Krishna conscious. And then it's very important that you get ahead in your job because good preaching, because then other materialistic people might also start to chant Hare Krishna. And you just like you go to church on Sunday, you go to the temple on Sunday, and the rest of the time you squeeze in your 16 rounds as best you can, and this central focus of your life is your work. That's what it is for people who have a job in the present day. The central focus of their life is their work, and that's the only way that you can have a job. So, fed up of the daily grind, we take to Krishna consciousness, then we're told, hey, you remain in the grind and chant Hare Krishna and be happy, while you're being ground and crushed. And then what happens in so many cases, then the Krishna consciousness that we took to with such hope becomes dull. It's not given a chance to fully blossom, because instead of Krishnartaya Akila Cheshta, all our endeavors for Krishna, in the job you have to make your endeavors for the sake of the boss. That's the way it is. You're working for the boss or your immediate office manager, and you have to work for them. You have to do it. If you say, now I have to chant a few rounds, forget it. We're paying you to work here. And no way you can even imagine. I'm working on this report, but anyway, I'll just take a few minutes out and have a few rounds to chant. No way, no way. You have to do what they say. And in this way, the hope becomes just durasha, hope against hope. Or we invent some idea that by getting some undefined and intangible special mercy, that somehow or other, even though we don't follow the process of Krishna consciousness as given by the acharyas, that somehow or other we're going to become fully Krishna conscious anyway. There becomes no way that we can significantly move forward in Krishna consciousness. We're supposed to make progress in Krishna consciousness, right? But then for that you have to follow a process. We have to have sadhana. We have to have right association. We have to spend time every day chanting with devotees, studying Shastra. We don't have time for that, and by bad association we may not even have so much inclination for that. And there's no way to significantly move forward, to actually make progress, because we get stuck in this cram in your sadhana, whatever little you can, and then on Sunday go to the temple, and that's it. That's the best we can hope for, if we're part of the daily grind. So the farm life is the alternative, where you can be fully Krishna conscious, be in association with devotees, have your family, and have full sadhana, live simply, no artificial necessities. For me, the best thing or the only good thing that ever happened to me, anadi karma phale paribhavarnava jale, since entering this ocean of material existence, the only good thing that ever happened to me, which means after time immemorial, is Brahmanda Brahmite Kono Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. Getting the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and taking however ineffectively or poorly to Krishna consciousness is Srila Prabhupada's mercy, the greatest thing that ever happened. The next best thing that happened to me in this life is coming to India. I often think that, because this is, after all, in this material world, the land of Krishna, and even though the culture is going down, when we go to the West and come back, we can still see the difference, isn't it? It's still people in India are much closer to Krishna. So anyway, it's not that you can't be Krishna conscious in the West, but at least I feel that it's Prabhupada's mercy on me that I came here, and that's been a great help to me in understanding many of the practical teachings that Srila Prabhupada gave when he spoke about Vedic culture, which he did so much, and that I've been able to understand that to some extent. Whereas it seems to me that many devotees in the West, they really don't understand the importance of Vedic culture, And they seem to think that you can more or less be a normal Westerner and be Krishna conscious also. But normal Westerner means that the culture is working in the opposite way. It condemns, as Srila Prabhupada says in this purport, the artificial life of a condemned society such as that of the Western countries. Their whole approach to life is that Pasmi bhutasya dehasya kim puna agamana bhavet. We have one life, enjoy it. Or they have some religion which doesn't make any sense. And our religion is the only very, very... and that's also based on enjoyment, that you go to heaven and then you enjoy yourself. There's no idea of God and how we have to live. Well, there is an idea of God, but they have no understanding of Krishna, the supreme enjoyer. Their theology is very, very poor, which I won't get into at this point. So, for those devotees who have moved to our farms, I think they can also experience how the best thing that happened to them was coming to Krishna consciousness without doubt, and the next big leap was going to the farm. Is it? What a difference between struggling to keep your material act together and somehow or other practice Krishna consciousness in the city, and then going to the farm where you have time, you have the atmosphere. In the office, if you chant Hare Krishna, that won't be allowed. If you don't chant Hare Krishna at the farm, then you're in trouble. And you won't be allowed to stay. It's round the other way. It's round the other way. So it's the big leap from ignorance to Krishna consciousness, and then another big leap from Krishna consciousness, Kacho Habu Dubu Bhai, they're just going down under the water, come up, breathe some air, again go under the water. Trying to be Krishna conscious, and with the waves of material life floating over us, compared to the opportunity for being or an arrangement whereby we can be in Krishna consciousness 24 hours a day. Even if we're not fully Krishna conscious, we are in a Krishna conscious atmosphere. So these farms and gurukuls, they're required. Otherwise, we have to try to practice Krishna consciousness on a template of materialism. And it doesn't work. Well, Krishna consciousness is very powerful. It can work to some extent, but let's say it's very difficult living in the materialistic society. Among people who their goal of life is to eat, sleep, drink, be merry and enjoy. It's very difficult. And these farms and gurukuls are essential. We have to live the way of life that we're talking about. Otherwise, we ourselves won't believe in it, let alone be able to convince others. And we see that the varnashram, the word is practically banned at the topmost echelon of our society. They don't want to know about it. Because they haven't adopted it, and the aim of our religious institution at the present time, the unspoken aim is to become an accepted part of the materialistic society, a religious section or something like that. We won't believe what Prabhupada's plans are, or let alone try to fulfill them. Or to give an example, Sridhar Srinivas Prabhu, whom most of you here know, he told me that he had said to a devotee in America from a Tamil Brahmin background who had read all of Prabhupada's books. So Sridhar Srinivas Prabhu tried to tell him that all these mundane welfare programs, it's all bogus. It's not the aim of our society, and the devotee, he just couldn't accept that. If devotees actually believed what was in Prabhupada's books, why would they start for instance, the ISKCON Kill Cancer initiative? Isn't that evidence that they may have read the books, they distribute the books, but they didn't get the message, at least a very important part of it. Definitely not the social message. Prabhupada's social message is we need to establish Varnashram society. Now, I from time to time say things like this about how our International Society for Krishna Consciousness is off course in various ways. It is not appreciated by certain leading members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness who advertise to others that I'm speaking against ISKCON. Well, in some ways you could say that, because what ISKCON has remodeled itself as, citing evidence from Srila Prabhupada's teachings and from what's actually going on today, showing that this is what Prabhupada said and this is what's going on, and it's not what Prabhupada wanted. And in this way, I'm saying that ISKCON is off, and if you want, you can say that's speaking against ISKCON, because it's speaking against what ISKCON has been made into by those who have not accepted. If we take Prabhupada's words at face value, which is what he wanted us to do, it's not what Prabhupada wanted us to do. There would be no question if Prabhupada was here of having the ISKCON Kill Cancer initiative. Srila Prabhupada, he often used the term diseased condition of life, but by that, Krishna consciousness is meant to counteract the diseased condition of life, but by that he meant the disease of identifying with the body, the disease of thinking anything but full surrender to Krishna as being proper or desirable. That's what he was talking about. Bhava Rog. Now you see, Prabhupada says Krishna consciousness is meant to counteract the diseased condition of life. Okay, kill cancer and addiction, and then we have the ISKCON Kill Arthritis Project and ISKCON psychological research, and there's no end to it. As Srila Prabhupada pointed out, it's the government should run hospitals. ISKCON is not meant for sannyasis to promote hospitals. So if I say this, it's not. It may not be very well accepted. Srila Prabhupada said they will fire on us, referring to the materialists. They won't if we make kill cancer projects. You don't know about that, do you? Yeah. In one major city of India, a devotee of many, he's been devoted more than 20 years, I think. I know him from a long time ago. He started an ISKCON project called Kill Cancer. The idea is to stop cancer. Right? I don't know more about it than that. If we do like this, the materialists will praise us and think very good. But Srila Prabhupada, I'm going to read now a quote from Satsvarup Maharaj, that Srila Prabhupada heard of negative news articles. This is for in the days when devotees used to go out regularly in America, chant in the streets, distribute Prabhupada's books. And Prabhupada heard of negative news articles. Srila Prabhupada said they were a good sign. It shows that they are feeling pressure from us. At the present time in ISKCON, they have a phobia about negative publicity. It is the worst possible thing that could happen. But Prabhupada said, negative news articles are a good sign. It shows that they, the materialists, are feeling pressure from us. I said, Satsvarup Maharaj said to Prabhupada, do you mean that we shouldn't worry about publicity? Srila Prabhupada said, why worry about news articles? The day will come when they will fire on you, shoot you. You have to be prepared. So actually, if we were going on with our program, then the materialistic people, some of them, many of them would appreciate and maybe take to Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada also said people will join our farms in their millions, which if we had set up the farms as Prabhupada wanted in America at the present time, isn't it? So many people, no job, no house, no family, no hope. We can give, you come work, we'll give you food, you come and join us, chant Hare Krishna. They'll come. We don't have to say you chant 16 rounds. We may not even say you have to follow all the 4 regular principles. We're not going to give them meat to eat, but we'll say you work, we'll give you a place to stay, food, people will come. And apart from the homeless, hopeless, there are also many idealistic people who'd like to, and they're doing it anyway. What we're not doing, they're going and living off the grid, which is not exactly not necessarily without electricity, but they're going the simple life. Many people, they look, okay, I'm 20 years old, I could spend the rest of my life in the daily grind, in this polluted city full of danger at every step. People, you can be attacked at any step, and I can go and live in the country. We can go and live in the country and produce our own food and live simply. People are doing it without our leading the way. So Prabhupada said, the day will come when they will fire on you. And that may be possible at our farms if we expand this more and more. It won't be popular in modern India where the mode is development. We have to have more industries and smart cities and urbanization. The system of farming we have at the present time is very inefficient. If you go in Orissa and Bengal, especially, you'll see tiny little fields. Not very efficient. Much more efficient, clear all the people off the land and make huge fields, 20-acre fields for one crop, and then you do all the farming, you spray all the crops with planes, from planes, that's what they do in America, and then combine harvesters, with one man sitting inside in the air-conditioned combine harvester listening to what they call music. And the days of combine harvesters powered by one man are going to be finished soon, so they're going to be robotized soon, no doubt. So this is in India, the whole idea that we're developing. But no, we're going against that. So live simply. Labor-intensive society, not machine society. Everyone's employed. Everyone has a role to play. So our farms work against the principle of developing the nation by building factories, by urbanization. The modern education is required, so that everyone can play their role in this urbanized society. So modern, but we're against that. And feminism, that's a natural upshot, because in an artificial society, the natural male roles and female roles, they don't apply anymore. Motherhood means you give birth to a child, and then you dump them in a crèche or something as soon as you can and get back to work. And food, the mothers don't cook for the children. Here in India nowadays, the girls that get married, they don't know how to cook, because they went to school and they were learning all kinds of things of no use whatsoever for when they get married. And then they don't want to be a mother because they've been trained differently and have different aspirations. I mean, they may give birth to a child, but they don't want to look after the child. I've discussed this in that terrible book called Mothers and Masters, hated by the leaders of our society, because he points out that men are supposed to be men and women are supposed to be women, and all kinds of horrible ideas like that. Anyway, this was Srila Prabhupada's revolutionary idea. Revolution means revolve, come back to the original point. We don't, all this advancement, don't need it. Live simply. Chant Hare Krishna. That's all. So this is, again, giving some understanding why are we doing these farms. What's the point? These devotees, they could be preaching in the cities and making more devotees and building more temples and making more disciples. And what are you sticking them out on some farm? What's the point? You're spoiling their lives. Well, that's it. This is great. I must say, I'm very, very happy with these farms. I'm spoiling your life. All your career aspirations. I'm very happy to spoil your good career by telling you all these things. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, who gave us the spiritual knowledge, spiritual life, and even how to live materially in the best way possible. And in the meantime, we have all this fancy equipment for broadcasting all these things. It's the wood for the handle. Nowadays it would be a plastic handle. But the wood for the handle to cut the tree, which is wood. And now you have the plastic to cut, because there are no trees in the city, so maybe there are some plastic trees, but they wouldn't even use an axe, they'd use some machine, everything robotized. Anyway, you get the idea, the example. We use this, we don't depend on it. If this wasn't here, we could still talk Krishna consciousness. But just to get that message out to more people. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyascha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha.
Bhakti Vikas Swami Maharaj ki
Jai. Prabhupada ki
Jai.